Hello everybody, this is Larry's Linux lesson, and today I'm going to walk us through how to install an operating system from the very beginning. We do need to start with a operating system disk or a USB stick, and you can now download the operating system disk into your computer from any Linux version for free, whether it's Ubuntu or Linux Mint or any other version of Linux. There are free operating systems out there. They work pretty nicely and they are free. You will need a DVD burner. Some of the images are larger than 700 megabits and won't fit on a CD, so try to have a DVD burner handy and a DVD. And I am going to install on this computer, this computer already has Linux operating system called Elementary on it. And I'm going to install Ubuntu long-term service 64-bit 1404 2014 April, basically. That's what that means. And well, let's get started. Excuse my scratchy throat. Insert the disk into the DVD drive, and now we're going to restart the computer. So click on Shutdown and Restart. We're going to have two options here. I can completely eliminate Elementary, or I can install Ubuntu in a dual boot situation where I can boot to either or operating system. I can be able to boot to both of them. And here's where you would hit F2 to go into Setup. And all the BIOS are different, but you'd want to hit F2 and go into Setup and find where it says Boot Sequence. As you can see, mine's already set to boot from the onboard or USB CD-ROM drive. Onboard SATA hard drive would be the second device. So if I don't put a CD in there with the operating system on it, that's burnt in an ISO form, it won't boot from the CD drive. It will boot to the hard drive, which was how you get the Elementary up. And but anyway, you can see mine's already selected there, and if I hit enter, you can see I can select that and pick whichever one I want. Any one of these devices I can pick and move them up or down using the keyboard keys. And it says press up or down to select a device. So all I'm going to do is escape here because mine's already set to go, but you may have to change your settings on your computer. Remaining setup, nope, I want to exit and move it over to exit and enter. This is a Dell 745, a Dell Optiplex 745. And as you can see, it's booted up to Ubuntu's boot screen. It takes a few minutes to load this screen up. And I'm going to have some options to choose how I wish to install this operating system. Again, excuse my scratchy throat, a little slight cough there. But this Ubuntu 1404, the LTS long-term support means that it will be supported for 5 years. It will be good until 2019. And let me tell you what, if you're confused as to what to do about an old Windows XP computer, Ubuntu or Linux Mint or possibly Elementary might be a really good fit for you. Personally, I like Linux Mint. If your computer's powerful enough to run it, I like the Cinnamon version. They have a Mate version. It looks like it's spelled mate, M-A-T-E, but from what I understand, it's named after a soda pop from Brazil or something called Mate. I've never seen it or had it, so I don't know. But yeah, anyway, and they have a couple other versions of the Linux Mint too, the XFCE and the, I believe it's the KDE desktop versions, but Cinnamon and Mate are their most popular ones right now. You may just call it Mate because it's M-A-T-E and that might be happy enough for you, and believe me, it's happy enough for me too. It sounds funny saying Mate when nobody's pinned me to a mat. I don't know, maybe you don't watch Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, but you know, that's where I got that from. I thought when he said it was Mate, the first time I heard him, the first thing I thought of was Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he held Chong Li down on the mat and made him say Mate. At any rate, you can see that this is loaded up here, and it has a try Ubuntu or an install Ubuntu. Now, if you want, you can try this on your CD DVD drive. Just click try Ubuntu, and it will load up the operating system on the computer. This is really actually a great option. Let's say if you suspect your computer hard drive might be crashing, but you're not sure if it's a hard drive or something else going on. You put in a Linux operating system and give it a try, and you can boot from it and try it. And if everything seems to work fine for you, then you might know that it's probably the hard drive giving you problems. But we're going to go ahead and install this because this is what the video is about. So let's install Ubuntu. Now, you can download the updates while you're installing. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to skip these things. Well, I am going to install the third-party software. Let's see, am I going to do that? No, I won't. I'll just let this go so we can get it done, get going fast. So continue. We're going to have some options here. Now, as you can see, you can install Ubuntu alongside Elementary. You can replace Elementary OS 2.1, Luna 2.1 with Ubuntu. It gives you an option to do something else, and then you can partition the disks with this down here. And if I click continue, I can kind of show you what we have here. This is all the green space is your Elementary operating system. You can see that I have 71.5 gigs on there. There's Linux needs a swap section. That's 8.5 gigs, and it needs those two things. And sometimes when you're making your own, you'll also need to set up a home partition and something else. Well, the home and the place where the operating system is going to be. So now I could replace the whole Elementary, but I don't want to replace the whole Elementary because that would just go into loading up the operating system. And I do want to show you what it's like to install it alongside before I do that. Now, see, when you click next there, you have your options, and you can slide this middle bar back and forth, and I could put more room for the Ubuntu installation. I could go 50 gigs. I can actually go all the way up. See, Elementary only needs 4.8 gigs of space on the drive to continue to function. I wouldn't trust that personally. I would prefer to have more. At bare minimum, probably 10 gigs to 20 gigs at a bare minimum. But you know, for the purpose of this video, I can balance them pretty close, right in the middle there. You know, where they're about the same size. I can make Ubuntu about 40. Now, the thing when you do this is going to take time to fix the drives. So I'm going to go back because it wants to partition the drive. It takes a little bit of time for it to format that. So that's what it looks like when you go there, and you could do that, and then it would be continuing as normal. We're going to continue as normal right now, and I'm going to install this operating system onto this computer, and we're going to replace Elementary for the sake of time. And so I click Detroit because there's no Grand Rapids. It ends up in Indianapolis or back in New York or someplace in Canada. But I click Michigan and I get Detroit most of the time. Sometimes it will still come up with New York, but this usually says English. It says type to test your keyboard. I rarely ever do this. Ubuntu's always treated me pretty good about getting the English United States keyboard, so I'm just going to go continue. And it's asking for a name, and then it wants a password, which you won't be able to see, but yeah, fair password. Alright, for this video I'm just going to log in automatically and click continue. And like I said, that's all we had to do. This thing's installing. It's that simple. You've got the operating system installing. Now you don't need to do anything, just sit back and wait. And usually, I didn't check the options for updates or anything, so this shouldn't take too long. And when it finishes, it will tell you in a small window the operating system needs to restart. So when it does that, it's also going to tell you to remove the DVD and close the tray and hit enter to continue, and then it will reboot the computer with its brand new, freshly installed operating system. And like I said, because I'm not installing the updates or anything right now, this shouldn't take too long. But for the sake of this video, it is 11 minutes in right now, almost 12. And so it's already been going a little while because I talk a lot. But there's a few easy steps to do. And like I said, you go to ubuntu.com and you'll see places where you can download the software you want, 64-bit, 32-bit. If you have an older laptop or something that had XP on it and you don't want to throw it away, but you don't know what to do with it, and you'd still like to use it, but don't trust XP being out of service anymore, well, this is a really good option for you. And sometimes, you put a version of Linux on a laptop and maybe it's too new and still needs too many resources. Be sure to check on the websites what the system requirements are, so you know that your processor's up to speed and you have enough RAM in the computer and stuff like that. Because there are so many different versions of Linux out there that you'll be able to find something that will run just about anything. If Ubuntu and Linux Mint need too many resources to run on a laptop, and like I said, if the laptop has low resources, it's an older one, I'd suggest something like Puppy Linux, and check into that one, see if that one will work for you. Beautiful thing about Linux is, you can't run the Microsoft Office on it, but it does have Office software. And as long as you save your documents as a .docx or .doc, somebody with Microsoft Word should be able to open it, especially the docx these days. DOC would be like Microsoft Office 2000, I think. So, but yeah. And we're got a little while to go yet. It's got 18 out of 61, and see how it's loading pretty fast. And gets those files. Some files take a little longer than other ones, up to 25 there. So, as you can watch this thing, you can read about it as it goes on. So anyway, any other things I can think of? Besides having its own Office products, Linux has a software manager, place to get software, and most of which is free. There are some paid softwares on Linux, but you can find a whole lot of free software. And it doesn't install the same way Windows does. You don't go out the internet and download something, and expect it to work. So unless there's a package called Wine you can install in Linux, and Wine will let you run Microsoft or Windows applications on the Linux operating system. It's pretty cool. I think there's still some of the newer things are still kind of working on getting them ironed out, but Wine will work with a lot of the applications that run on Windows. Other things to think about: Linux is pretty light; doesn't take a whole lot of room usually. I think the elementary operating system actually did fit on a CD, but Ubuntu and Linux Mint will not. They need the DVD drive, or I think they're both over a gig, so they take a little bit more room. Now, Ubuntu also will not play DVDs without a couple little tweaks, and you have to install those Ubuntu unrestricted packages, and you have to find a code to copy into the terminal that will let you play the DVDs. Ubuntu cannot play them due to copyright laws. So Linux Mint can. You just install Linux Mint and it's going to play the DVDs. Elementary also would not play a DVD without installing that library of codecs, I believe is what basically I think was what it is. But due to copyright infringements and Ubuntu not willing to risk everything for that, you have to install it yourself. And Ubuntu's been around a long time, so it's not a rookie operating system. Whereas elementary operating system, the elementary OS, if you look on a website called Distro Watch, is only 2 years old, and it's already up into the number 8 slot of the top distributions that are being downloaded and used. That's pretty good. That's a big jump for a new operating system, and it looks a lot like a Apple operating system. You saw at the beginning of this video what the desktop looked like, and so that's pretty neat for a developer to make an operating system and take off like that. I do like Ubuntu. It has been around a long time. I used it for a long time with many earlier versions. I think starting back in 2008 was my first effort with Ubuntu, and of course I put it on my laptop, which at the time it didn't find my wireless card, and I'm not sure if I could have went out and actually found it or not, but I just kind of I don't need to mess around with it that bad, and just reinstalled Windows on the laptop and I was happy. But nowadays that laptop, like I said, if it had XP, I wouldn't be able to put Windows 7 on it because Windows 7 uses too much resources. Same with Vista or Windows 8. So things to ponder and think about. Yeah, we're seeing how fast this thing installs too. And like I say, I didn't install the updates, so it's just loading from the disk and running that way. Updates can come along anytime afterwards. It has the update manager. And another really neat thing about Linux is that chances are you're really not going to need an antivirus. If you feel more secure with an antivirus, there are antivirus programs out there built for any version of Linux that I can think of, that I've seen. And I have installed a couple of them, but I've never had an issue with it when I haven't. They also do have a firewall built in, and then they have this little GUFW, graphical user face firewall, and I like to use that. Install it, turn it on, just close out the firewall. It's on in the background, stays on. Alright, so less than 20 minutes of my talking, and if you really stuck around to listen to all that, here's what we're going to do. Like I said, the Windows is going to say restart now. We're going to shut down the system. And you can watch it. Remove the installation media. Now see, the DVD drive opens by itself. So just take the disk out, close the drive, and push the enter button. Excuse me. We're just going to let it boot from the hard drive. And it should just take a couple seconds here to load up. Linux can take a little longer than Windows to boot, but once it's booted, it's really a nice system. So I know I'm waiting. There it goes. There it goes. And where's my desktop? I say, bam! Come on, let's go. First time, it's being a stinker. There it is. Well, I was starting to wonder. And 22 minutes to get booted up from when I started this video. The actual installation time might have been longer, but man, nice keyboard shortcuts there. I imagine that'll pop up every time you open up the computer, so you can, I thought you could close that out. Change desktop background. Okay, there it goes. And there's a good tweak. I'm going to come up here and close that. And I've got Ubuntu installed. Here's the software center right here. Here's your office tools. And so the software updater, this is where I said would install updates after we got done. And it comes with Firefox for the web browser. Now I happen to have a hardwire in there. This particular computer also has a Wi-Fi card built in too, but there you go. We're online, and so that's good. Search your computer and see what all's in here. I'm going to go terminal. And Linux, you can install apt-dash. You can install programs like this. Install GUFW. Ask me for my password. And away it goes. Do I want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. Okay. So I'm installing that program, that little firewall program. I'm going to install a DVD into the DVD drive. You'll probably see it populate. And you can see that my installation should be complete here. So back that up. And it's asking me for my password again. Anytime it's a security setting, it's going to ask for a password. Ask what to do. Now this isn't going to play yet, but right now you can see that it has videos here. A lot of people like to use a program called VLC, which I could probably install that too, but right now I'm just going to close that out. Well, I thought I would close that out. GStreamer plugins, ugly. I'm going to cancel that. I'll be coming back for more stuff, and I went and closed the wrong one. Let me get that back open again. These are things I would suggest doing on your first installation. Here I have the firewall on, and this is very granular firewall. If you want, it's simple to use this interface. It looks simple. It is simple, but it can be very, very granular or tweaked or manipulated. I can't think of a good word for it right now, but it can be configured really, really nicely, and you can be really particular with the things you want to do with it. But usually I just leave it like that, call it good. So, alright, let's go back to Firefox. And you just type in play DVDs in Ubuntu. Restricted formats. How to play a DVD in Ubuntu. Okay. Go to the top one. And you can see the versions here. I had 1404. The i386 is a 32-bit. The AMD 64 is 64-bit. And sorry about dragging the window over to the side. Install this. You can copy this and paste it in here and let that go and click yes, enter, push Y and enter, and then copy this other command right here. So you're in the terminal, which is basically the Linux version of the command line that you'd see. Copy and paste this, enter that and let it go. Now I have heard in the past that sometimes you have to reboot the computer for this to take effect. So let's just see what happens. And okay, watch up here. What I want to do is click on the videos and see what this says. Videos, playlists. I don't see anything there that's gonna open, copy, go to open. Let's try ejecting it and reinstalling it. Maybe it'll just pick that up and play it, and maybe I'll have to reboot the computer, but we will find out in a moment. Maybe I will have to actually install those Ubuntu Restricted Extras and redo the second command in the terminal that we copied and pasted in there. And if this video is going too fast, you can always pause it and double check what's going on and take a look at something. Like I say, I'm just kind of getting us up and running so we can install our Linux operating system and play DVDs I showed you how to install the firewall graphical user interface. So, okay, now I'm going to just click install and see what happens there. Oh, it's asking for password again. XP. And authenticate. Installing the packages.
Our boy came home.
I still can't get this to play, so let's reboot the computer once.
Did you hear me? Our boy came home. Josh, he brought Ninja Turtles 2. He's sitting out there with his little Caesars. He just got out of work. Brought the movie over and he brought himself a pizza and
Okay, so he's here right now.
yeah, they just started it.
Okay, so we're booted back up again. Let's see if we can play this thing again. And see, this is what happens some of the times when you try to play movies with Linux. It doesn't work quite the way you think it will. So I'm going to go to the software manager. This is it loads. I'll load up this one right here and install this. And this is how you do this installation of software. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and install it. But this is how you install software in Linux. And I showed you both the terminal and the graphical user interface method of doing things, and that's pretty cool. But at any rate, this is going on, and we'll see if we can get this DVD to play after this. See, this takes a little while to install. Depending on your internet speed, which I was told we're going to have faster speeds for a year by AT&T today, but you know, things still take time. So that's it for that. Yeah, we're going on 35 minutes now. Giving us a clean install, and I want to show that these DVDs players can play. And just so everybody knows, see, this is not a pirated copy of the movie. This is a legitimate DVD. bought and paid for. It's still installing the software. We're about, what, 2/3 of the way done, I'd say. And when this gets done, just in case, I'm going to have it ready to copy that command that we pasted in the terminal earlier. And if you're still watching this, you're a very patient person. And I thank you. So we'll copy that. Open up the terminal again. Just in case. Oops, I think I goofed by opening up the terminal. I may have messed up my download, so that might have broke my system there. So what can I say about that other than rats? Yep, never open a terminal while you're downloading something. It's a bad thing. Now that I've showed that, I'm going to restart the computer again. Dog sounds like a cat. So upon restarting this, we'll see if it starts the whole download process all over or not. And of course I lost my copy. Okay, come on Ubuntu. Kick it in. Yeah, that's pretty common. You're going to see a black screen there with some typing and stuff on there. If you're really curious what those things are, you can always watch real quick so you can copy them down each time they boot up and try to look them up. Whoops, not where I wanted to be. I want to be here. Because I crashed it last time, I got to start it over again, and I apologize for that. Well, maybe it did install. Alright, so you need those two things. You need those restricted extras, and you need the command from that website, and we're watching the movies. I know you can't hear it. I do have volume. Sometimes you have to tweak the volume a little bit to get to sound good. It says full volume there. Turn up the volume there, and you can see I have the movie playing. We could install VLC, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. This is my basic pet peeve with Ubuntu, is being able to play movies. But with that, this has been Larry's Linux lesson, And that's 40-minute video, and I am going to call it good. So have a good day.